knows they are.
Hey, Kenny.
What about them, Papa?
Uh-huh.
What about them?
He said,
Are they doing all right? Well,
They're doing okay.
well, good.
I'm sorry I'm not too hungry, Francis.
Well, that's all right. That bread was so old. We got some fresh bread now. I hate old bread, but you know, we just let it get old on us.
Kenny used to have more fun than boogie and ain't bed.
Yeah, tell us about that night. Kenny and Pam brought you home. Y'all got stopped with that beer in your car way back down yonder. They brought him home from down at Lady Basin or somewhere. Police stopped them for some reason. They like to got in a lot of trouble, but I don't reckon they did. They're just getting tired. Getting tired, isn't he? He goes and lays down pretty often.
An awful friendly fella. And he decided he wanted to go to Alaska. They come out sometime, I forget now what year it was, about 1906. No, 1903. And he decided he'd go up there and find some gold. I just find some gold up in Alaska. He went up there. So, first place he got to is night. He got up the next morning, thought he'd look around, and went right around in just a little piece. Kind of down the slant, there's ice and cold. So a big log laying across the path. Right on the other side of it, there's a fellow dead. Yeah, he turned him and went back to the house quick as he could. Thought the fellow just died, you know. There. Said something about, said, oh, there's a dead fellow down the side of that log. Yes, there's been there 6 months.
Now, who was that who went to Alaska?
When he come back, he lost his taste. Old fellow said he'd give anything in the world. People come in and buy an apple or orange or something, he'd go to eating it. He'd give anything in the world if he could taste it.
He lost his taste in Alaska?
Uh-huh.
Now, who was it that went to Alaska?
Old man Petrie. Let's see, what was his name?
Old man Petrie?
He worked for Wilson Company, clerk for old man Charlie Wilson the way back. Everybody liked the old fella.
Yeah. It was so like a super city.
Raised down here at Belgrade.
Everything in their store was clothes and food and shoes and everything. Big store.
I've been down several times. Fellas come in and buy some apples or oranges. They smell awful good, you know. Yeah. Oh, man. He lost the smeller too, he said. He couldn't smell or taste either one.
I've never heard that, really. I mean, never heard somebody being where they couldn't taste anything or smell anything.
People getting a heck of a shape. So, oh, what kind of shape I'm in. But old Dr. Heidi treated me about 18 years up there at Russell. The last time I went to see him already, he told me what he'd done. He said, oh, well, he says, we'd still be friends. Laughed. Something was something. Yeah, well, he's telling me about one of my old doctors dying up here at around that town around Decatur.
Have y'all got a big yard?
That's where he went to from here.
Oh, you got any
Anyhow, said he's up on Thursday. Well, he called Dr. Height and one of them come by to see a patient. And Dr. Height went up and stayed all night. He said, when he got there, he didn't hardly know the doctor. Said he's just as white as a cloth. And just had turned that way just all at once. And he come home, you know, I believe that was Thursday. He come home on Friday and got a water on Saturday. The old fellow died out.
That's sad.
I said, well, that's another one of them gone. And I don't know, ain't him and counted up together. I've seen about 40 or 50 different doctors. And I said, that's another one of them gone. Yes, he says, more than that if you'd count them.
So you've seen about 40 or 50 doctors dying, huh?
Yeah.
Goodness.
I don't know that the Dr. Height got to stay over just to look me over. They'd have something different and tell Dr. Hyde. Dr. Hyde kind of grinned. Look, he can't take it. I'd asked him why. Well, get your book and read it. It went against me somewhere. I stick a little intern doctor, fellow making doctor. He was young, just about your size. He was up there, he come finish up on the Dr. Hyde. Some way they was neighbors out in Missouri. Dr. Hyde's daddy and his daddy. And I think he stayed about 2 weeks with Dr. Hyde. So we talking there. Last time I went to see him about everything. He laid it, I couldn't kill you with a sledgehammer. Old fellow, we had a lot of fun. But Dr. Nally, me on, sir, I don't talk to you.
What he meant, Kenneth, a lot of the doctors that he's seen,
He
that thought, you know, something bad was wrong with him, or, you know, if you
Just
don't
an
do
old
this, if you don't
friendly
do
doctor.
that, you know, they talk like he's in bad shape. A lot of them's done died, you know, that's what he meant with seeing so many doctors die that had doctored him, but he didn't mean he really seen them, but they just, you know, once it told him he's gonna die, died way before he did, you know, is what he meant to say. Yeah, one of the best doctors he liked best of all was Dr. Myers.
I bet they ought to
He
go
used to be up there.
get up there and stop by and see him
He
just
died.
for
I think he
fun,
was
but
up in Hartsville or somewhere on up above Hartsville.
if he wasn't busy. I guess those women probably keep him running.
When you go to the doctor this week, we might take you by to see Dr. Hyde and them. All of his bunch.
But the last doctor, I like him, his turn and everything.
Jeff, you want a sandwich?
Well, no, thank you. I'm fine.
We got some bananas in there.
Well, thank you for offering. I might take you up on that.
Y'all got that chicken on yet?
I got the chicken and pork chops on after the doing what to do.
Yeah, I know it takes a long time. You just gonna smoke them up.
They have to do me like Jim Penix. He was, got over and he kept going over. And he got a pretty good hump on his back. Wife would get him up every morning and get him against the wall with a broom. Have him push him, push him in the breast, you know, yeah, sweeten up. He had a time. He married, was married the second time. His wife, she was an awful good woman, I said. And they got married. But old man Jim wasn't no count. He wouldn't work or nothing. He's trying to farm a little. She'd get him up and get him started to the field, plowing or hoeing it or something. Quick as she'd get the house cleaned up then, well, she'd grab her hoe and go find him out in the shade under a tree asleep. The old fella got tired of it one time. Decided he just hang himself. I had a little rippet one morning. He come up missing. So she got the house cleaned up and went on out. Honey, he got to the barn. He had a barn with a big loft in it. And he was sitting down there on the floor of the barn loft with an old blind bridle. People used to, horses get skittish. Sometimes seeing things side of the road, you know, riding, they'd jump. And they made a blind bridle. Thing come out there, shaded eyes on each side. He had one of them down, and he'd already tied up there to one of the rafters. So he's trying to get it tied around his neck or something. And she went, when she got the door, she seen it. What in the world are you doing? She run, grabbed the bridle. So, he said, if you went on and let me alone, I'd as soon have been a walking the streets of Jerusalem. Yeah, she said, you'd been a pretty fool walking the streets of Jerusalem blind bridle on.
I don't think you're even thank you. Go. 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 Go, go, go. Go. You're not eating right now. Go.
One of the old man Wagner's out at Crooked Oak. He lived not far from Crooked Oak, but down in a hollow going toward Tuscany. Him and the Wagoners, McCaggs, and McCalls. All three of them lived in that hollow going down the mountain. Every one of them fooled with whiskey.
Every one of them fooled with whiskey?
Nice whiskey.
That's the way they made the living, making bootleg whiskey, you know.
Back in the, what year was this in?
So they bring you make it, and sometimes bring 20 gallons out on that Waterloo Road, and have it on the side of the road selling it, you know.
20 gallons, yeah.
I bet 30 cents a gallon back then. You buy a quart for a dime, I believe it was.
What year was this in, Pawpaw?
Back that's about 1906. Yeah.
Do you remember them selling it on the side of the road, or
Yeah.
did you guys come by in a horse and buggy, or?
Yeah. They'd set it out and put the money in the pocket and go on. Nobody didn't tell the law nothing about it. But one of the Wagoners got to where he got old and he'd taken something else, I forget what to call it, and it couldn't be still, you know. It was just all over. It's a shaking. And couldn't hold his head still. Feet or nothing. We was all sitting, they was all sitting out. I'd cook up one Sunday morning, and in the spring of the year, but he got more under a shade tree. And Dad and Mama and Granddaddy and Grandma, they walked up. They walked to church that day. And So they talking to old man Wagner.
On their way to church?
Mm-hmm.
Were you with them, or did they
Yeah.
tell you about it?
We didn't live far, you know, from the church. It might have been, I don't guess it's over a mile from Granddaddy, from Crooked Oak Church. But anyhow, old man Wagner was sitting out on that shade tree. And,
Selling his whiskey.
no,
He wasn't.
he got sick and had that trouble.
Oh, okay.
And Coy James was a boy. He always had a turn for everything.
Get them out.
And
Yeah, I
funny.
think
And what?
He was funny, you know.
Okay.
And someone, Coy, he walked up. And so Coy was looking at old man Wagner. And someone said, Coy, he looks good, don't he? Coy said, yeah. He said, he looks like a damn sack of fidgets.
A damn sack of
Fidgets, I don't know what that was.
fidgets. Who was he talking about? You or?
Old man Wagner, you know,
Oh.
shaking that away.
Okay.
Daddy reckon you getting too tired. Your blood pressure was up a little bit. You might need to lay down a little
Coy
while.
kept on, he got to where he could sing pretty good, and went to school pretty good for the times back then. And he got to leading prayer there in the church and singing. So some of them got asked to make a preacher. He went off, been off 2 or 3 months. Come home though on Christmas. So somebody out there, they went to church that day and they invited him to church. Well, he was at church and they invited him to go home, and I had a big dinner cooked and a big crowd was going. So he went home with him. They got dinner on the table. So they called Coy for one of the first ones. About 12 at the table. So they called on lead to prayer. They had a big ham cooked. There's a place right back here on the hock of the leg here that you can't scald the hair. It won't come out no matter you cook it or it won't come out. Well, you can. Well, a lot of people just have a sharp knife and shave it off, you know, and some would just leave it. If you left it, it wouldn't cook out about that long, but it wouldn't come out. So they had that ham turned up somewhere. That hair was showing towards Coy, and they called on lead to prayer. And so
They called what?
called on lead prayer, you know.
Lead prayer. Okay.
Yeah, lead the prayer. So he happened to look and see that ham, that hair there, you know, on his leg. He finally said, well, dear Lord, bless the people, bless the dinner, and bless the hair, and damn the skin. Then open your mouth and cram it in. And oh yeah, I'm thinking of myself there. He just jumped up and run off, you know. Yeah.
Everyone laughed, I guess.
He never did try to preach or do nothing from then on. Yeah, I laughed about it, so you happen to see that hair. Boy, he made a big deadbeat. He left here, went to Birmingham. First thing he knew, he'd open up a big tinware store. And he was selling stuff to beat the devil to sell. And so one day he hard up broke. And he beat the tinware company's wholesaler out of $10,000 in Birmingham. Way he come home. Some people didn't have nothing to do with him after he done that. But he still had some pretty good friends.
Coy did?
Uh-huh. So he stayed around here a while and left here and went to Memphis, and he opened up another store. And he busted hit for $40,000. So he come back home and never did do nothing after that. He lived on that money. Him and Dad was about the same age. Retired and so out to Roy Bradford. And me and Roy would run around together. He was older than I was. But we were around together right smart. He tried to get me to go his haver when he was. You didn't have to do then all you have to do now. They learned at the drugstore. What little you knew. But that fellow got to make his money now before you make yours.
Yeah. What did y'all eat when you were a little?
Huh?
What did you eat when you were a little kid?
Oh, just a little bit of nothing. Oh, I said Bradford was, I can't think of it now, yeah. Another day, Plaxico. Roy Plaxico. Jim Jim Irvin was running the drugstore when I was the real sick spell I ever had. I was going on 10 years old. Let's see. Yeah. And old Dr. Whaley was the doctor. Best doctor ever been known to hit Brooklyn, but he was a drinker. And people fell out with him, wouldn't have him. Lots of them held on to him and said they'd rather have him drunk. Some of them other doctors sober. But he come by the house. We just had moved to Crooked Oak. And Dad had bought out there on account of Mama's health. And he bought out there and was going to build a new house out now. And he bought 7 acres of land and built 3 buildings on it. And sold out before he got one of them done. Then bought this land here. But anyhow, I had the old typhoid fever in March. We moved in the last February, January, but so I got sick. So there's 3 doctors in Russell then, and I went down. Wasn't much fun to hear the lenders. We lived in another old house. So I went down there handing Dad boards. And I was sick of the horse. And Daddy looked down through and see me. And he reached down and felt my face and said, "You got fever here. Ain't got no business up here in this loft. Get out and go on back to the house." So I got out and, oh, I was sick as a horse. I had to lay down about 3 times on the side of the road before we got to the house. And I got to the house and just walked down on the porch and made a bump. First, Mother, she come to the door, come on, said, "Good Lord, what's the matter with you?" I felt on me. Said, "You got a hot fever here." So she looked down the road and old Dr. Whaley was coming. He lived at Frankfurt that time. He come on up. Mama stopped him. Of course, he's sober. And he examined and said, "Well, he always called Mama Sally." And he looked up at it and said, "Sally, you just got another case of old typhoid fever." Oh, she said, "Good God, don't tell me that." She lay 6 months there in Russell with a typhoid fever when the doctor was having, Dr. Gresham, he thought it was TB. He was treating her for TB. And she had the old typhoid fever. So she left 3 times. She was in the bed about 6 months. So he stood around a few minutes and he was coming to see a boy live pretty close to Littleville out here. Go straight through. I forget how many miles it was. And when he come to see him, well, he just stayed all night with him. Go back home next morning. He said he'd go and see this boy. And he said, "Well, Sally," he says, "I'll leave you some medicine, fever medicine." Said you can give him a dose of that long, every 4 hours or something. And he says, "I'll stop in the morning as I come back and see how he is." He come back by the next morning then. So he said, "Well," he said, "Oh, doctor, hard to prove. He just got a case of typhoid fever." He knew Mama didn't like his drinking, you know, and everything. And, well, she blessed him out a few times when he come. If he was drinking. He said, "You know I drink." He said, "Now get any doctor you want." And she looked up at him. She's just a little tricky. She kind of looked up at him and said, "Doc, will you promise me one thing?" He looked, "Well, if I can, I will." He called her Sally. He said, "I will if I can." And she said, "I know you could if you would." And he said, "Well, what is it, honey?" She said, "If you'll promise me that you won't drink with a drop of liquor until this boy's up, I want you to
You need to eat you something and
and
eat this ice cream, you're going to drop dead. I never got nothing all day.
huh?
I said, "You need to eat something. Here's just some ice cream."
Yeah.
You didn't eat nothing all day.
Well,
You'll drop dead in a minute. What could you
I
eat?
can't think of your name, but you ought to eat something. So he says, "You want to shake hands on it?" "No, Mama said, don't want to shake your old hand, I just want your word." He says, "I'll take it." Well, you know that old doctor went 13 weeks and never touched a drop of whiskey. I told him he could have quit if he'd wanted to, but he never did quit it. Well, way on. That was back in 1907, and I went off in on government work. I was up, I don't know, 50, I guess, and they'd want to know when was the last time